VR is a thing Valve made some tech demos for once upon a time. And honestly, they are really cool. I love them so much, and to this day I still obsess over them in small bursts. These tech demos I feel are genuinely some of the most underrated Valve things ever. I had honestly completely forgotten about these for a while, until recently when I tried getting VR to work on Linux and needed some games to test out. Side note, yes, I did get VR working on Linux, because Linux is awesome and now I have no reason to ever go back into Windows ever. And wow, I forgot just how fun these things are. They have so much personality and interactivity and everything you could really want from a short tech demo VR game. Or at least I think so. There's a very real chance I only like these because they're Portal themed. But come on, how could I not? Portal's awesome! And it's the perfect franchise to use to create tech demos for things like VR, in my personal opinion. Playing these tech demo games Valve made for VR really brings me back to closer to when they first came out, when VR seemed so exciting and new. Now VR is just that thing companies make headsets for where all they do is shove screens and ads into your real life for extremely high prices. Seriously, I don't think I'll ever understand the appeal of AR headsets, but anyways, that's not what I'm talking about here. This is actually a video about the Valve games that most normal people forgot about within a year. Wow, it's almost like I'm actually outside. Speaking of video games normal people stopped thinking about within a year of their release, meanwhile I never stopped thinking about, The Lab. Also known as a game where all the characters get really impatient with you.
Feel free to put the portal sphere on your face at any time, immediately.
Do you think there was anyone who had tech issues while playing the intro and got really angry having to listen to this guy repeatedly telling them to put the magic ball into their face while they had to fix whatever issues they were having? The Lab is a Portal-themed tech demo game thing Valve released in 2016 with a bunch of miniature games inside of it, made to show off VR and what it could do. You probably get the idea, but realistically there's at least one person watching this video who doesn't know. So what does this practically must-play PC VR game throw you into first? Why, it sends a very likely new-to-VR player onto a realistic mountainside with plenty of drop-offs for you to be scared to walk over, of course! I get this doesn't look like much now, but imagine playing VR for the first time when everything in VR feels super realistic to you, and then being thrown into this environment. When I first played VR, and by extension, this game back in 2019, I kept trying to convince myself to walk off one of the small ledges and I just couldn't bring myself to. My brain kept telling me that was a real drop-off and that I would fall. This game actually has a few photo-scanned environments, and while you can tell they have aged a little bit, they still look pretty real at times. When replaying the game, an area that surprised me a lot was the big open plains you can choose to go to. The distant-ish large mountains looked like a static skybox. That is, until I teleported to another spot and oh, those mountains moved! They are actually there! Whoa. Another notable photo-scanned area are the Valve rooms. I always love when big video game companies, mainly Valve actually, give you an interactive look into their offices like this. It's just so cool to feel like I'm chilling in Valve HQ in Steam VR, or in this case, to get to feel like I'm in the very room they were first developing VR in, as I listen to the computer that's begging for mercy. Also, this room has a VR headset in it, which has actual physics for the cord, which hurts to look at because I absolutely hate when cords get all tangled, especially so for VR, and I gotta get out of here. Oh hey, the VR headset sends me to another room in Valve's offices. That's a cool transition. The second Valve room is far better than the first. One, because there's Atlas from Portal 2, but also two, because I can walk out of bounds and get a good look at this one area, and also feel like I'm about to get in trouble because I'm in an actual office in an area that I'm not allowed to be in. Anyways, after you leave the cooler Google Maps, you're thrust into this hub world where, whoa! You can do so many things. You can draw, you can harass the bendies, you can smash cups, or you can actually play one of the games like a normal person. The arcade shooter game thing is fun. I don't know, it's a lot of fun. It's like a 3D bullet hell, but the difficulty curve is just a little too aggressive. I couldn't beat the main non-infinite mode and I didn't really feel like I had to at all. Especially when the arcade machine in the hub doesn't even have an ending to it when you finish it. I do really like the environment this game takes place in though. It feels like I'm actually inside an arcade machine. I love all the screens and how closed off it is. I understand why games like this in VR have the environment be a large open space, but dang it, I like my small spaces too! I need more VR games to take place in areas like this! So I wasn't too into the arcade shooter, but you know what I was into? What I was really into? This stupid fling crap explodey stuff. Basically you, in quotations, calibrate cores. by flinging them at buildings. The more damage you do, the more cores you get to fling, until you end up sucking and run out of cores. This is the kind of game that kept me coming back saying, just one more good run, come on now. Meanwhile, I'd end up retrying like 10 more times. I can't help it. There's just something so satisfying about learning how to properly aim the slingshot and what your first series of moves are. And every time you do well, you're rewarded with cool explosions that look awesome in VR. I love explosions. I think I have a problem. Each of the cores have unique personalities and dialogue too, which on one hand is awesome because the dialogue some of these guys have is great, but on the other hand it sucks because I just keep on stopping playing the game just to listen to these cores talk about random crap. The Tracer core did not get the attention he deserved though. I'm just saying that right now. He deserved more from the Portal fandom. I don't care if he comes off as a we have space core at home type core. I love him, and he will now be in the background of all my videos from now on. He is clearly the best new character to come out of this game.
Tracer core. Tracer core.
Next up you have the archery minigame, which I don't actually really have much to say on. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun, but it's exactly what it looks like. I will say though, this game made me realize how cute the little bendy guys are. I wonder what their lore is. I'm still gonna kill them though, they deserve it for replacing Shell in my custom Portal 2 chambers when I was younger. I wanted Shell to be a part of my crappy story-based chambers pretending to be Portal 3, not this weird bathroom sign guy. Anyways, after you play those previous games, you then have some diagrams where you get to burn the earth and the sun and you get to skeleton. But then, you have 2 Source 2 engine games in this. The rest of this game runs on Unity, but Secret Shop and Robot Repair run on Valve's own engine, Source 2. Future Green Hoodie Cat here. Apparently Secret Shop does not run on Source 2. It just for some reason opens a different program to run, like Robot Repair does. So, there's that. Secret Shop is great. I added the EXE to Steam separately to play it since I'm a dirty Linux user, but it ran perfectly past that. And, wow. I don't even like Dota at all, but this game manages to get me almost interested in Dota's world and characters. The fantastical little creatures in the shop, the guy who owns the shop being the chillest guy ever, the interactable shades, the, red guy who kills you. It's great. I don't really like how it shows your controllers instead of the aperture hands though, or really any hands. This experience is pretty immersive, up until you look down and oh, those are controllers. It feels so out of place here. I don't really see why the hand models are just your controllers, but whatever, it's not a deal breaker I guess. Robot Repair on the other hand is... Okay, look, this is a great little experience. It's incredibly cool to see Portal robots up close, the writing is great, and it's overall just a really fun time. But does that make the effort required to get this working worth it? No, not really. This isn't even a Linux thing, by the way. Even on Windows, this game just crashes. Seconds into playing it, for whatever reason. To get this working, I had to run the EXE separately by adding it as a non-Steam game, with the console turned on, then when in-game I would have to set the map using the console, then when I was in-game I'd have to exit the headset a few times to dismiss some errors it was giving me, then, and only then, would I be able to play. But whatever you do, do not press the trigger and the grip at the same time on either controller. The game just exits the map you loaded? For some reason? This was my first time ever playing this game because how was I even supposed to know this? Yeah, so while maybe this is worth it for someone like me who has spent 2,000 hours playing Portal 2 alone, I really just don't think it's worth the effort for most people. So that's a lab. What? Am I supposed to put a conclusion here to wrap this section into a nice little bow or something? No. I'm kind of good at this. Oh. We're not done yet though. We still have 2 more games left. First off, and the actually good one, Aperture Hand Lab, the game where all the characters are too patient with you. In this game, you use your hands. Exciting. I really couldn't experience this as intended, seeing as I'm a Quest user, and this game was designed around the Valve Index's controllers, but it's still a great time. Plus, even if I can't feel how hard I'm squeezing to shake my fist or whatever, I am able to switch into hand tracking mode for rock, paper, scissors. If only hand tracking was like, actually good. I remember playing this game had my imagination running when I was younger. I'd fantasize about what it'd be like to maybe one day possibly play this game with the Valve Index's controllers, and to have better audio and resolution. Keep in mind this is 2019 me speaking, I know the Index isn't the best headset anymore. And Half-Life Alyx, at the time, HLVR, had string leaks left and right, and unless you really hated Tyler McVicker at the time, we all knew HLVR would come out any day now. Playing this game and experiencing all the love put into it, with the great writing, the fun setting, the characters, the interactions, it practically forced me to imagine what a full-length VR game from Valve would be like. It had me more excited for a game that hadn't even been announced yet. I'm not even lying when I said I replayed this one-off experience tech demo for a headset I didn't even own multiple times when I was younger. It was just that cool to me. I apologize for talking more about the feelings I have associated with this game rather than talking about the game itself, but trust me, there really isn't much to talk about with this game, unlike the lab. However, there is one more game where there's even less to talk about, and that is Moondust, the game no one remembers, and the game that no one was even aware of when it came out, and for good reason, honestly. As far as I'm aware, this game came out as an unlisted game for certain creators who had received the Valve Index controllers early, and was never, well, listed. But at the same time, people could play this early even if they didn't have the controllers, but just wasn't very functional, especially with the limitations of early Steam controller binding functionality for VR, which didn't support emulating the whole squeezing part of the Index controllers, which is a problem because this game is half just squeezing your controller. Probably more than that. You can emulate the squeeze on non-Index controllers now, but it's still not perfect. It's not like this game had much to offer anyway. It makes a strong first impression, there's a cool starting area, and the animation for going to a new area is really cool, but past that it just feels unfinished. But like a polished kind of unfinished. It feels empty rather than buggy. In each of the experiences, you just sit in one spot, unable to move around and explore this honestly really cool setting, while these stupid square creatures I don't like, if I'm being honest, surround you. There's nothing new here, no new writing, no new experiences for most people. You don't even get to explore the moon's surface. It'd be ridiculous to call this game bad, obviously, but like, it's not very interesting either. The best part of it is the space station construction experience, which I will admit I was more into than I expected to be, but that's all. In all honesty, I can see why Hand Lab was a real, public Index controllers tech demo, and why this was quickly forgotten. In conclusion, Valve is cool and makes cool stuff, I guess. I don't know. What? Oops. This is why wireless VR sucks.